Boy is directed by William Brent Bell and stars Lauren Cohan. The story for The Boy involves a woman named Greta, played by Cohan, who's traveling to England to be a nanny for a very wealthy family and to take care of their son, Brahms. Upon arriving there, she realizes that Brahms is in fact a porcelain doll. However, the family has a very strict set of rules that must be followed, otherwise Brahms won't be happy and bad things will happen. So The Boy actually, to me, it was very interesting because there's a lot of elements that remind me, I actually thought this was based on a Japanese horror film and was remade because it has a lot of elements, a lot of Asian horror movies. In terms of some of the way it's shot, the story structure, there were actually a lot of elements here that do make up a good horror movie. It was filmed well. It was actually shot well for the most part. There's creepy suspense, tension. There's actually some good build-up in here. Some of the cinematography works well. They really capture the essence of the house, make you feel immersed in that, and does a good job of setting up the environment. At least giving you some hope that, hey, there's some stuff to work with here. And there actually is. There are some good things. Unfortunately, there's quite a few bad things as well, and that's unfortunately what really weighs The Boy down, because there's an interesting premise here, even though to me, I'm sorry, growing up as a kid of the 90s, this is kind of like Night of the Living Dummy, the old Goosebumps books. I don't know if you guys remember those, but it kind of reminds me of that. But, you know, an adult version, sorry, it just does. The kid's not a dummy, it's a doll, but whatever, anyway. But there are some good things to work with here, and it comes close at a lot of different moments. Unfortunately, it does miss more often than it hits, but which is too bad because there were some general rays of hope in here. Lauren Cohan actually does a pretty good job in most of the parts of the movie. There's some parts where you can feel she's a little weak and her character seems a little odd, but she does try. And that's actually the one thing I can really say about this. The movie does try, and I will at least respect and give it credit for that, because there is some care shown here. It is shot pretty well. Their performances are pretty good. The premise, even though it seems kind of stupid on paper, actually could lend itself to something pretty creepy. And there are moments of this that are creepy. Unfortunately, then it breaks down into a lot of the cliches of the horror genre, especially in the second half, where every single moment where there's a scare has to be punctuated by a loud, like, noise, like what they commonly call jump scares. There's a lot of jump scares in this. There's a lot of cliches that end up popping into the movie. And that's unfortunate because there are some really solid moments that build upon a strong premise and build a strong foundation. Unfortunately, that foundation can't even get completed before the story starts to crumble. Look, this is a very traditional horror movie. If you like standard horror movies of here's a guy, here's a girl, something bad's going to happen, let's see what happens, are they going to make it, are they not, then you will enjoy this movie. And there actually is some additional care into this that you might like. It reminds me in many ways of a movie like Dead Silence, and also involving puppets, where there's like, okay, there's enough pieces here where you can enjoy this. Is it a great movie? No, but, you know, especially for a date night or for a Friday night, if you're looking for just a couple pumps and a scare, then hey, you know, there are moments here. Cohan does fine. Bell does fine directing it. This is the big word with this is fine. Unfortunately, fine when mixed with some other lazy elements that don't really form a cohesive unit. Fine makes a subpar movie, and that's kind of what this ended up being. This is going to be a negative score for me just because there were too many elements that didn't work versus the elements that did. I'm going to have to just go with a solid 5.2. There was just too many misses on this. If you're looking for a horror movie, there are worse options out there. I've seen far, far worse. It's just there wasn't enough to make this a cohesive unit. It feels very mishmash at points. There's a lot of potential that just doesn't get touched up upon. The second half kind of falls off the wagon. There's too many genre cliches. It just wasn't what I was looking for. If you like horror, you might enjoy this. There are enough enjoyable elements where I could at least recommend going to see this. This isn't a don't waste your money kind of movie, but it was disappointing for me as a whole, even though being a fan of the horror genre, even if not the biggest. But did you see The Boy? Are you looking for a horror movie to see? Go see The Boy. Go check it out. See if you like it. Leave me any comments, questions, thoughts, concerns you have below. Like, follow, social media, all that stuff. Subscribe, and keep pumping out as many videos as I can, as many movies I can see, and I'll check you guys next time. Thanks.